All right, welcome everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. We're just going to give everything, give it a minute or two, and then we'll just jump right in and start looking at some charts. You guys let me know if my audio is doing okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me all right. And there's about a 30-second delay on the audio, just so you guys know. So that's just how YouTube does it. There's about a 30-second delay. So when I speak, when I'm replying to comments, it's about 30 seconds later. But if you guys are new or if you haven't been on this Saturday live stream, typically what I do is I just go through stock charts. It's really more about subscriber picks and what you guys are looking at, what you want me to look at. Oftentimes in my weekly videos, I point out the trades that I'm often involved in, and I full disclosure, talk about the fact that I'm either long or short positions, and I'm pointing out those trade ideas as they build and as they continue to set up, and then once they trigger, I kind of narrate those trades as they play out. Basically, they don't all work. Sometimes we have to stop out of trades, but again, we're using rules-based analysis and rules-based trading. So it's really, it's just initiate the plan. And those weekly videos, I'm often pointing out those trades that I'm looking at that look like really good setups. But keep in mind, I can't see everything in the market. There's a lot of trades that I miss. Just I don't see them. So I'm always scanning for new ideas, and part of this live stream here on Saturday is to help scan for new ideas for everyone. So if you guys have stock trades, stock tickers you guys want me to look at, setups that you think are there, point it out in the comments below. Leave a comment, or wherever that comment thing is at, and I will, I'll do my best to try to go through all those in this video. We spend about an hour going through these, so all right, no time to waste, so let's just get right into it. We're gonna, and people can kind of pile in as we're running, and we'll go into the charts. So I'm gonna start out with a look at the SPY, the S&P 500, kind of setting up where we're at, how we ended the week, and then we'll get into some stocks. So all right, I got the weekly chart. The main thing for me, this trend line, I still think it's really valid. I've had this trend line really since I started my channel back in 2018. So this is coming off your 2009 lows, and this basically is this is the major trend of the market for the last 11, 12 years. And we started to establish a trend back here in 2016. And once we had that trend really fully established, you can see every tag of that trend line we held on the weekly. But in 2018, the Fed started raising interest rates, and this is when they were saying they're going to start raising rates and let their balance sheet roll off on autopilot. And they raised, I think they did 3 quarter-point raises, and then the market basically dropped 20%. And that's when they flipped. Well, when they've been fighting a broken trend ever since. And basically, we broke the bullish trend back in that time, and then the Fed has been trying to keep that trend up intact, trying to actually recover the trend. And I think this trend line has been pretty validated at this point. You can see we basically, once we broke the trend, it was resistance. Then I had this trend line. I had this trend line here before I even knew about this price action right up in here. And when we were up in this area, I was putting out videos saying, all right, I think this is the top of the market. Now, obviously, that was not accurate. No, that was wrong. But at the time, it was the near-term top, and that enabled me to, using technical analysis, to basically be pretty, fully short for the COVID drop. So most people, and I guarantee a lot of the trolls that are on here, they didn't catch this COVID drop. All right, they're like, most of them are bulls, and they troll me when I say, it looks like a good short or things like that. Likely they rode this down and then they rode it back, and they started to get emboldened and say I'm wrong when we're up in here, because now I am wrong, that it's not the top. But they weren't talking about the market top. They were panicking in here. But again, the point I'm really trying to make is this trend line, I think it's a pretty validated trend line. And zooming in recently, you can see we've really held that on the weekly. And these two candles here help validate that as well. Look what happened on the last couple of weeks. Came down, held that as support, did it again the following week. So I think that trend line, we're going to continue to really keep an eye on that. Now we're above that trend right now. We're above trend line support. We can, this can go either way. We can ramp up and have a blow off top, or maybe even recover this trend line and go on for another 10 years. But another option, or another outcome potentially, is this is a false breakout on this weekly chart, and we're going to see some big impulsive sell down, big red candle or breakdown, or maybe trickle our way down here, kind of grind along this trend line for a little bit, and then have a big impulsive break. If that happens, we have to say that this price action right here was a false breakout. All right, so I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's one outcome. So we'll just keep an eye on that. And if it shows up, I think if that shows up and I see that in the chart, I really think it's likely that you're going to want to be set up, at least in my opinion, for, trending short trades. All right, a more sustainable downtrend, not just a quick drop and then a quick recovery, but a more sustainable downtrend that is likely going to play out over a couple years. All right, guys, so let's get into some charts. That's really all I see in the SPY, on the weekly. On the hourly, we didn't do much all week. We just kind of ground around sideways, and yeah, I don't have anything too crazy about the SPY. On the daily, we're just back testing. We're just back testing this March 2020 low trend line right here. And you can see we just back test, grind around, back test. We're just trading below trend. I think it's like, we could run up and do another back test, or we could break down. I think we're going to break down, but, maybe we do a back test first. It's objective to short up at a back test. And that actually would be my preferred scenario, because if we do that anytime soon, you're going to make a new high, a new all-time high above these previous highs here. You're going to run up and hit that trendline resistance right there while making a new high, and you're going to do it with negative divergence. This is going to look something like that. And this, this momentum is going to be like maybe up here, but it's going to be a divergent high. All right, and that's going to be a likely area that the market fails and starts to sell down. So I kind of would prefer that. I think it's a good risk reward area to potentially establish a short. Okay, that's all I got on the SPY. I'm going to start going through the picks and what you guys are saying, looking through the comments. Yeah, oil stocks. All right, we can look at some oil stocks. Well, here's XLE, the oil sector. So, the commodity, the thing is, with oil stocks, I was very bullish down here. This is where I circled it. I put out, anytime I put out a video where I'm going through just a sector all by itself, I'm likely either completely bearish on the sector or completely bullish on the sector. And this was the case for oil stocks back here in November, December. I don't remember exactly when I put it out, or October. But I put out a video that the thumbnail was oil stocks, and I was completely bullish, and obviously that played out really well. Now that the trades run pretty good, we could see a pullback. Longer term though, it's hard to this commodity, the ag commodities at least, look like they've started a new bull market. So if the ag commodities are starting a new bull market, I think all commodities are likely going to start a new bull market. So whether we see pullbacks, I think that might be opportunities to buy into buy into weakness. On XOM, yep, negative divergence. There it is. See that right there? Let me just kind of extend that. I mean, there's your negative divergence on the XOM, on the PPO, and you got it on the RSI. And so that little wick, see, all-time new highs, or I guess not all-time, but a new high is in this recent range. This is a divergent high right in here. So a divergent high isn't a reason to just short something, and it doesn't say, oh, it's going to sell off right now. It just tells you that momentum's starting to dry up, and so likely, as momentum continues to dry up, there will be that pivot that you'll see. And the way I like to track that pivot is through a break of trendline support. The trend line that I have on this, this is about as good as I can do on XLE, and so maybe we come down and break this trend line and pull back in. This isn't, I'm not confident on this chart, so I think the best that this would potentially do is a move down to here, all right, which is about 42. The 200-day moving average is down there. That was kind of this gap area. You had the island cluster top, and you can see it held as resistance. So I think if we come down and hit that, now this is support as well right here. There's some support right there as well. This might be all you get, and that's about 47 bucks. If it comes into 47, maybe we hit this trend line. That's going to be a pretty solid level of support. So look for signs of a reversal or whatever right there. But there is the potential to come all the way down to 42. I'd look at that as a buying opportunity personally. Chevron, which one is that? CVX? Yeah, Chevron. Yep, negative divergence, clear negative divergence right there on the PPO. Again, one thing that I look for to give me more confidence in a swing trade is divergences on the daily chart. All right. A lot of people like to point out divergences on the hourly, and that's fine. Those are valid. I mean, a divergence is a divergence no matter what time frame. It's just with the hourly chart, it can be so whippy, it's such an acute time frame that it can be such a whippy, like you might get a signal and the trade's already played out by the time you actually notice it, or it could play out just for a small little move and you're loading up on a position and then the trade's dead by the time you're fully loaded and it goes against you. And then on the weekly, it's just such an obtuse chart where that plays out for major moves, but that can take months, it can take years even to really start to play out. And it's just not the best indicator for positioning. The daily, I think, is the best balance that I've noticed from my experience. So I look for the daily divergences, and then I look for signs of breaking of trendline support or resistance, and on the hourly typically. Chevron's got negative divergence. Got some support right here at about 96.85. I would say if we're going to get down there, we're probably going to break below, hit that 200-day, and likely going to hold in that area. This trend line, we could probably, see, we don't have a trend here. There's not really a trend. We don't have enough reactions to validate a trend line. Maybe that, we could say that might be it. Maybe we broke, but, and there's a back test. That's a potential. So I'd be looking down at, that area for support. If we break below there, I've got this line marked out as some support, 82.70. It's not the cleanest though, because we got a couple areas right here where it held support right on the 200-day. You can see once we got above the 200-day right here, it held support there. So I could see us coming back down, probably holding support. Okay, moving on from the oil stuff. Let's see here. You guys got any longs? I know, I do a lot of shorts, and the reason why I do a lot of shorts is because the market has, the market's got a lot of setups for shorts. And, again, I like to go long when the market's way down and nobody wants to go long. That's where I'm looking. That's where I'll be talking only about longs, and everyone will say I'm, only looking for longs. But up here, risk reward is to the downside. All right, Chipotle. I don't remember that symbol. I know it's a long one. What? Let's see what that symbol. Oh, CMG. I guess it's not that long. Yeah. See, I've already had this one marked out. So you've got trend line support right there on the daily, and we broke that support. Little bear trap right there. That happens, but it whipped down and hit the 200, and then recovered. But this is clear, consistent breakdown now. Actually below the 200-day, and closed right on it on Friday. So we'll see if that, maybe they can recover it, come in for a back test. Negative divergence was intact right there. So this trade's already started to play out, if it hasn't already completely played out. But you had the negative divergence. You were looking for the break of trendline support. There's your break. Boom. Gap down, closing below. And obviously the bear trap would probably keep you a little hesitant because you wonder if it's another bear trap, but you got another sell off and pretty consistent selling. Again, when you get the breakdown, from my perspective, you gotta just take it, and then just if it's a bear trap, you just stop out and get out of it. But you got to take what the chart gives you and just believe it's gonna play out. This one's already dropped from the sell signal. It's already dropped, at the low, 11%. I think it's likely it's got some more downside, to be honest. We're probably going to get rejected at the 200. But again, it's middle of the road right here. I wouldn't want to just short it right here. If you're not short at the sell signal, which is all the way up here, it's not. I'd want to wait for some sort of maybe a back test if you could get it. But again, there's always other stocks to short or stocks to go into. Support on this one, well, clearly, the recent lows, obviously, I think is kind of a support level. You can see that we held right there. We break that. Looks like we got a little bit of support right in there at about 1188. We'll call it 1,188. All right, moving on. All right, we've got Texas cotton. Well, if cotton is ruined, if the suppliers got ruined, then the cotton price should go up. It's probably already ran. I don't know the futures for cotton. Let's see here. Well, let's look at the TT, I guess. I don't trade this one. Yeah, it's pretty thinly traded. I can barely see it. So I don't know. I'll have to look at that one. I've got some ag commodities, but not cotton. Maybe there's some companies that are cotton proxies. We'll have to look. Potentially shorting the retailers, the clothing retailers, if their input costs go up. Right. All right, so I'm just scrolling through here. Yeah, marijuana stocks. Well, we got, what's the ETF? It's MJG. Is that it? Sorry, got to go back to stocks. I forget that pot stock ETF. Maybe you guys can help me. Leave that in the comment below. I don't remember off the top of my head. And I thought it was MJG, but I'll come back to that one. ANF, that's what, Abercrombie. All right, so ANF, this is a retailer. All right, so first thing, we'll just spot. Where's the trend line? Right there. Right in there. Again, what you can do, and I teach this in my course, but is you want to really get your trend lines intact. It's really important to have a good trend line. And I teach these concepts in my course about how to spot trend lines, how to really validate that it's a trend line. Volume. Someone actually mentioned why I don't use volume. I do use volume. I normally have it up here. For some reason, I've been having an issue with my getting a new indicator on here. It got deleted, and I've got to just restart my computer. I just haven't done it all week. I just didn't do it. So I'll get the volume back on there, guys. I just don't know what's going on with this chart. But I do look at volume. That's very important for validating trend lines. All right, so there is this looks like the Abercrombie one. Probably can tighten it up just a little bit right about there. All right. Yeah, that looks good to me. Little false breakdown. Nasty little bear trap, huh? You love it when those show up. So what I would do on this, because that's a bear trap, like that was a sell signal right there. That would have trapped me for sure, because you had negative divergence on the PPO and you had negative divergence on the RSI, and we got to break a trend line support. I would have shorted that. No real follow through, but this would have looked like a bear flag to me, and I likely would have just stayed short, and then they'd gap it up on me. All right. Once they gapped it up and closed it, I'm just trying to talk through how I would have traded this with what I see in the candles. I likely would have stayed short here, but once they recovered it and held it that following day, or right here, and closed above, I'd probably be out. And especially the second day, right at the open, once they opened it above again, I would have been out and exited. So that would have been a loss for sure for me, and I would have likely shorted it right about in here and would have lost, 6% or so. And stop out. Again, it's all about, taking the trade as you see it. As of right now, this is a recovery of trendline support, but there's negative divergence. That has not changed. So I think there's going to be another breakdown. The next breakdown, if there is one, you see it, it's likely going to be the real deal. That's sometimes what you'll see in, in markets is you'll get that first initial breakdown. They'll run a trap real quick. When I say market makers are in here playing games. The algos do the same thing. The algos see all this stuff that we see, so they try to play games with people. But the next deal is likely going to be the real breakdown. If we break, look for, you probably see where we get some reactions. I mean, this is just a straight shot. Well, there's a big gap. So obviously we want to mark out that. That gap's been filled, so it's less important. But, I think that would probably be, I wouldn't want to fade this much below that 24 area if it was going to get down there. And there's another level of support at the top of this area right there. Let's kind of bring that in a little bit. Yeah, I think it's right about there-ish. Yeah, that looks good. About 30-50. All right, so those would be my levels. You break the next sell signal, 30-50. That's a 30% drop. All right, that's a nice trade all in itself. This one down here, less probable to get to. The farther away, the less probability, right? So what I like to do is as we run down to our first targets, take some profit, all right? Lock in that high probability profit, all right? If it bounces, and you usually get a bounce off those levels of support, you could always recycle back into a short and play it for the next level. But you want to be taking profit as you run into these levels. That's really important. Again, the goal is to play with house money as quickly as you can, basically, so that you're limiting your ability to lose. It's all about batting singles, basically. Okay, guys, what else do we got? Is it just MJ? That's what it is? All right, MJ. All right, I know I've charted this one in the past or kind of looked at it. Let's see here. No negative divergence, really. These can be tricky because they're like really high momentum stocks. There's a trend line. It's broke the trend line, not really that impulsive, just kind of drifting sideways. So I don't know. Maybe it wants to run up and do a back test to make an all-time, a new high and put in a divergent high. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have a read on this one, guys. Sorry. Moving on. All right. What else do you guys got? Just scrolling through here. You are short SE, NVIDIA, AMD, Qualcomm, and Lyft. All right. Well, we can look at some of those. Lyft, I'm looking for a little more upside to reshort that thing. I was hoping to get it on Friday. It's almost there. So here's my trend line on Lyft, the daily chart. I think if you're short, I think it's, and you're just riding out this bounce. For a swing trader, I think that from my perspective, that's fine. I covered my short as it started to bounce, and I was looking for, and then when it's obvious that it's doing a back test now, do we get the full back test? I'm not so sure, so I'll probably have to step in a little bit early to reshort this thing, but I'm looking for just a little more upside, and if I can get that full back test, that's the area I'm looking to reshort. And if we do, then I think it's going to reject from up there and roll down and eventually hit all the way down here at 32. But it hasn't even hit the 200-day moving average yet. They stopped short and stepped in and bought it. So I'd expect at least that, but probably a move down to 43.50 first. Break of that brings us all the way down to the gap fill. That's what I'm looking for on that one. Negative divergence was there, telling us that this thing was a short. There's your break of trendline support. To me, this looks like a counter trend rally. So I think they can pop it just slightly above this high right here, this breakdown candle, which is about 57.50 or so. Maybe they just briefly pop it. That's really the area I'm interested in reshorting that thing, is above 57.50 up to the trend line. Not really above. If you recover, then I'll look to start exiting. That's lift. That one looks really good to me. That looks like one of the better trade setups for shorting. It's just a little higher. AMD's just playing games, just sideways, right? So they stepped in with some news pump to hold the trend line. It was looking really weak right in here. I thought it was going to break, but that day that they came out with the news, I looked over at my chart and saw that thing spiking, and I just bailed at that moment. I didn't know what the news was, but it was a pretty impulsive move higher, so I knew there was something out there, and I just got out of my short right then and there. I think it was on a Thursday, and maybe it was this day. I don't quite know, but was the 19th a Thursday? I'm not sure, but so again, that's temporary. I still think we're going to break, but again, I'm not going to reshort this till we break. All right, I'm looking for the break now at this point. But again, it's just sideways, but they could run it all the way up and make a new high and then come down and break. Just look, I'm going to wait for that break at this point. Qualcomm. Yeah, this one is below the 200-day moving average. I think this is trending lower. This looks like, here's your uptrend in Qualcomm. I think Qualcomm's actually heading all the way down here at 93.70. I really do like that. This is where I shorted it, right up here. I got that divergent high covered, and I was covering that back then. How that looked like a great point. I mean, you can go back and watch the video from February 3rd, and I'll tell you that this is a great area to short Qualcomm. That's exactly what I thought. And, it sold down pretty good. Still looks like it's trending lower. So we got a big gap down here. I think it's working its way down to fill that gap over time. That's what I think on that one. What's SE? C, do they make, is that semiconductors or chips or something? C Limited. This one, yeah, not the cleanest chart. I don't know about that one. Clear negative divergence. Well, actually, not really. You don't really have it, actually. If you look here, you'll see that this high was actually slightly lower than the previous high. And the momentum was slightly lower as well. Well, I mean, it was lower. That's just lower momentum. So momentum's going lower, but it's not diverging from price. So that could mean that we're going to run up and make a slightly new high and put in that negative divergence, then start to break. So I'm not so sure about that one. All right. Yeah, the SPY divergence. Yeah. Especially on that weekly chart. That thing's been diverging forever, but it can continue. TSM. All right. That's what Taiwan's, yeah, semiconductor for a long, huh? You like that for a long? Well, let's see. We had negative divergence here, so that's your negative divergence that I had circled, and that played out for, from the divergent high really down to the low, 24% correction. Or bear market or whatever you want to call it. I don't really go off the 10% down, 20% down stuff. There's your trend line. Now we've got 3 reactions. 1, 2, 3. So that's a trend line. We have bullish divergence. So we can get rid of this negative divergence. It's probably played out at this point. Here's your bullish divergence right there on the PPO. Don't have it really on the RSI. Let me zoom in there. Yeah, we don't have it on the RSI, so kind of mixed. Ideally, I like to see it on both, but we do, you know, it's there on the PPO. This was your divergent low. So you made a new low price with bullish momentum. We're holding trend. So, yeah, I mean, you could step in long on the trend line now. Again, this needs to be adjusted just slightly. So tighten that up. But, you know, with the bullish divergence, yeah, you could step in long, and I just don't fall in love with it. You know, if it breaks that trend, you know, I'd bail. But this could hold and run up and make a new high. You know, I could see it doing that. Yeah, so I guess if I wouldn't want it, I'm not bearish on this because we have bullish divergence on one of the indicators. And for this, you'd probably want to look at like SOXX too. See, we got mixed signals though here on the semiconductor ETF. We got negative divergence on the ETF. So see how this looks like it's going to run up and make a new high and put in another divergence. But again, it's negative divergence telling me that we're going to break trendline support. So that is not, you know, it's not good to be going against the current if you have like an ETF or, you know, an index going one way with the momentum indicators. But again, you know, you could run up and make a new high in that Taiwan semiconductor. But I think this one's likely going to break. I don't know when though. We have to wait for that. CLX. What's that one? Clorox. It's kind of interesting, I suppose. Let's see here. So we're looking here at not the cleanest trend line. It kind of, you know, they really maybe something like that. It's that, you know, it's kind of longer term. It's kind of whippy, so we got to tighten it up and see what we got going on recently. Clear downtrend, obviously. This was some sort of big pump right there. Not sure what happened on that. Doesn't chart that great. Downtrend, as far as I can tell, we've got just a downtrend. And we have, let's see here. So this is a divergent low. I want to point that out. Recently, this is a divergent low, but it's not confirmed. See the PPO? How it's still pointed down. It's just still going down. This could continue to go down, and the momentum could continue to go down as price continues to go down. So to give you that bullish divergence, you want to see this momentum start to turn up while price is kind of continuing to make lower lows. That's your divergence, price diverging from momentum. Right now, momentum is heading down, price is heading down. So I just see down on this one. Maybe coming all the way down to this area of support, you know, roughly 155, 156. We'll watch for that. Okay, just a couple more, and then we'll probably wrap up, guys. Barrick. Yeah, I mean, Barrick's bullish in general. I think there is potential for a little more pullback, but I'm not so sure, to be honest. Gold and the miners look bullish to me, so SQ. Yeah, SQ's another one. It looks like Lyft. I was watching that on Friday for a short. SQ and Lyft were the two I was trying to get into. I did not take positions on them on Friday. I was hoping for a little more upside. We might have seen it in SQ. That might have been all there is. SQ. So things to look at. First, here's your trend line on the daily chart. right there. You can see lots of reactions. 1, 2, 3, 4. Plenty of reactions to validate that trend line. Here's your break of trend. All right. We ran down to, the first level of support, which is basically, 192.70-ish. And now we're came back in for a back test. I was looking for a full back test of the trend line, or at least a little bit closer. As I zoom in, you can see, we got within... I was looking for about another 1.5% or 1% or so, just trying to get it as close to that trend line as I can. But again, when everyone's looking at a trend line, the sellers will often step in early. When a trend line's obvious, you're usually not going to get a perfect tag of the line. You're going to either step in early or overshoot it. That might have been it, because we ended Friday. If you look at that, we've got a doji. See the doji candle? Not a huge doji, but it is one. And what you want to look for to confirm that doji, that this was a reversal candle, is confirming downside the next day. So if we see selling on Monday, then that's probably the high. So it could be a short on Monday. Something to look for. If we start to see selling on Monday and it just shows up right out the gate, I might just jump right on board and short this thing. Looking for a move in SQ. Really I'm looking for, this is your break of trend, of your upward trend. So now I'm looking for downward. All right. So probably going to look for a move down to here at about 170.75, and then potentially all the way down to 135.34. It's a ways down there, obviously. That's a 60% drop. But you have to remember, these things ran really strong, so to have a 60% drop in some of these high-flying momentum stocks is not really abnormal. All right, so I like that short. That's what I like about that one. What else you guys got? I'm just kind of scrolling through here. Coin doesn't have enough history, so I'm not going to be able to give any good analysis on that. At this moment, that is just speculation, basically. Bitcoin looks like it's going down to 24,000, guys. So I wouldn't really want to be bullish on. Let me get this Bitcoin. Here's Bitcoin. Look, we broke trend all the way up here on Bitcoin. There's your divergent high on Bitcoin. I have that circled out. And then here's your break or your sell signal. So this is when you wanted to short Bitcoin. We're now just downtrending. We hit support at 30,900. I had that marked out well in advance, kind of chopping around. So we could bounce around this range, but ultimately I think we head down to here, which is about 24,000, 25,000. We'll call it right in there in that range. All right. Yep, I'm live right now, guys. Lordstown ride. Yeah, that was a long, and you know what? I looked at that one. I missed it, I think, but it back tested that trend line. Yep, there it is. Look at that. That's beautiful, huh? That's technical analysis working. All right. And I talked about this ride one in, I believe, last Saturday's live event. I marked it out, but here's your downtrend line right here. All right, we had bullish divergence showing up, so there's your divergent low. That's not where you go long, though. You wait for a break of the trend line. There's a nice impulsive breakout, right? Then Ride came out with some sort of negative news, and what that caused is a back test of the trend line. Didn't quite get there either. The buyers were waiting down there, stepping in. So I circled it. And actually, I had that circle, I think, in well in advance. I was saying, I don't want to be long here, but if it could back test, that's where I'd want to be long. It was so fast, I didn't miss it, or I missed it by the time I heard it. I just wasn't looking at it. But this is your long area, and if you went long there, then I think you were, from the low all the way to the high, 42% in a matter of 4 days. This is a runner. So one way to, lesson around these runners like this, you want to have a smaller position size. Taper down your size, your position size based on the volatility. You don't load up on these kinds of things. You take a smaller size and they'll run 40% and you'll make, good profit. It's all about managing risk, right? one wrong move, if you load up, you'll wipe yourself out and you're out of the game. All right, so you really want to manage your risk and keep your position sizes relevant to the instrument that you're trading. So something like this, this low price stock, taper it down. You know, an example, let's say you normally take 10 grand on a position, on maybe a larger cap position or like a Starbucks or something like that. Well, with something like this, maybe you go, 2,500. All right. So, I think this is probably going higher, to be honest, up to here, 1275. All right. I think that's the next level of kind of major resistance. And obviously could run up to the 200. Who knows? Yeah, guys, the volume, I'm going to get it back. I can't do it right now. I don't want to fiddle with it, but it got erased. When I'm charting stuff, sometimes I'm trying to draw trend lines and delete trend lines, and if I click that volume candle and I hit delete, it deletes it. And for some reason, I cannot get my indicator bar to work up here. So I've got to refresh and probably restart my computer. I don't know, but I'll get it back. I do look at volume. It's very important. I'll have it back for Tuesday. Market's closed on Monday. All right. Yeah, LMT, that's what, Lockheed Martin. Yeah, I've charted this one. Let's see what we got going on. We've got... Sorry, my dog's going crazy. I've got a Doberman Pinscher, and he barks at everything that comes around. Yeah, I don't know on this one. Resistance right there at 403.75. What do we got going on here? There's some negative divergence right there. So divergent high. See that candle? That's a doji candle as well. Yeah, I don't know. Could come down to this trend line. Back test this trend line, 358 or so. We'll see. I don't love this one. MO is a tobacco stock. So there's your, wrong tool. There was your negative divergence back here. You can see it. That's why I had it marked out and started to, there's your sell signal. This must have been or I don't know what that was actually, not earnings, but big sell signal, gap down, back test. Yeah, probably gonna, these don't trade, this is in a downtrend, or it was. Let's look if it's, maybe it broke out of that. Nah. That's not a valid trend line. I only have, yes, there's a reaction there. I don't know. Maybe this has started a new uptrend. That's possible. We might have broke out here, back test. Maybe we're going to come in for another back test. This is a dividend player. So a lot of the time, what you want to do with these, at least what I like to do with these, find the uptrend where it starts. And don't, and then just, you get into these for the dividend and let these things kind of muddle around while they work their uptrend. But they're not usually huge runners. They'll just kind of grind around and work their way higher over time, but they'll pay really good dividends. So, that was on methanol. Yeah. Well, it was showing up in the negative divergence prior, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of like this one. I just don't know if I like it right here. I'd probably like it down here at a back test of the trend line. All right, guys. I'm just going to do a couple more and then wrap up. Get on with my Saturday. Let you guys stop thinking about stocks and money. I know it's difficult. All right, so Roku. Yeah, Roku broke trend. So there's your bullish trend. All right, we broke trend with negative divergence. Showing up right there. Let's see. Yep. There's your divergent high right there. So then you break trend, you back test. So again, I had this trend line marked out well in advance. So when we broke and you get the back test, that is, that trend line was already established. We're, trending lower. In fact, you can see we're making lower highs and lower lows. Here's a low, here's kind of a high, a lower high. Now we don't, this could continue higher, but I assume we're probably going to run up to about 375.28 as a max and then roll over. I'd look for lower prices. Support looking, these would be profit targets. 237 and about 202 or so. I already covered SE, so you can look in the earlier video. I already covered that one. PayPal. Again, we have a break. You always want to take a step back and look at the major pattern. Here's the major uptrend. We broke trend. We've been kind of grinding around sideways. What this one's likely going to do, it could just grind around sideways, and that could be the correction, and it could just go off to keep going. I think it's more likely, look at that sell signal. Boom, big red sell signal right there. And then you bounce and you bounce. And what they do is they just grind these things around, and then within just a day or couple days, they just flush out. So you're in the trade, you don't know what's going on, and then it's very similar to Etsy. You'll see this is what Etsy did. We got the sell signal right up in here, and it just chopped sideways for like months. And I was short this thing, and it was like, well, it's not we're not making money on it, but we're not really losing money. We could just go with what we see in the chart, and then just like boom, 3-4 days it just flushes out. And it's flagging too. It's bear flagging this one, Etsy. So I'm looking for another break. I'm looking for a break at this 153.70. We get an impulsive breakdown to there. I think we head down to about 121, 122 area. That's the next move I see in that one. Slight bullish divergence showing up. I do have that circled. That was a divergent low, but the bigger pattern looks like a bear flag, so I'm going to go with that on this one for right now. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's see here. We'll just do 2 more. All right. Kathy Wood. Yeah, we can look at what ARK. She had a good week. I know because I'm short some of these things, not all of them, but some of them, and they were kind of going against me, but. The ARK Innovation ETF, yeah, just a little resurgence. But look, just rejected right at the 200-day moving average. Run right into the 200, rejected, closing Friday with a doji. There's a reversal candlestick. It doesn't mean it's going to be the reversal, but what we want to look for now is confirmation. So I'd look for selling come out the gate on Tuesday, maybe in the form of a gap down, maybe right when the market opens, I don't know. But that's what I'd be anticipating. One way to play it, if you want to be, if you want to narrow it down and really look at your hourly chart right here. Yeah, I mean, look, I'd say it's really more about right there. We'll just give it the benefit of the doubt and put it right about there. Because this is a green candle where it gapped, ran right up. We didn't get the close there, so could probably even move it to about right there, actually. I like that, right about there. So they closed it right on support, all right? But, and that's an hourly candle. So if we gap down, we're breaking that hourly candle, and we would likely be confirming this doji, this reversal candlestick on the daily. I think there's lower prices in these things, guys. And as you can see, if you just really look at the chart, we got a high, kind of lower highs. If that proves to be the high, that's a lower high. We've got a low, lower lows, downtrend. All right, that's what this is. A lot of people can get lost in the day-to-day where they just say, well, this week everything did great. The downtrend's over. No, this is a downtrend. You have counter trend bounces along the way. All right, there's nothing telling me that this trend is over. And look, all right, another thing on this one. Let's just, make this clear, very objective. This right here, all right, yeah, you had higher momentum right there, but look, you had higher price. You didn't make it really a divergent low. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it's a divergent low, but look, they burned through that and made a new lower low in momentum and a lower low in price, at least on the PPO. Let's check the RSI. RSI has bullish divergence. So that was a divergent low in the RSI. So, yeah, mixed signals, all right? But I think we go lower. I really do. With that doji, I'm looking for selling on Tuesday on that one. Maybe we don't get it. But, again, look at that hourly chart. Maybe wait for a break and a close on the hourly. That might be a way to play it just to give you confirmation. Probably going to trade down to, see if we can find some support here. Yeah, that looks like relatively decent support. 85.50. I think that's a level to watch. One more, guys, then I'm done. All right, and if you're just coming on, then just go back and watch the video. We went through a lot of charts. I think there's a lot of good content that we go through these during the week. I'm really focused on those trades that I'm in, and I do scan and I'm looking for potential trade setups. But on these Saturday things, I can just go kind of all over the place and look at all kinds of stuff. Let's see. I got one more. Let's see. Well, Peloton is a better trade setup than Baba, so I think I'll probably cover that one, guys. Dogecoin, huh? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I doubt it, but, good luck. Let's see. Peloton's a better trade setup, all right? The couple things about Peloton. I took a short on Peloton on Friday. There's lots of resistance right where we're at. We ran it right into the 200-day. We've got this downtrend line on the daily. Now, we had bullish divergence down here, all right? So this was a divergent low. And there's your bullish divergence. We did get a move off of that, from the low to the high, 40%. Is that enough to satisfy the bullish divergence? I think so. So we'll look for, I'm looking for a continuation to the downside on this one, to be honest. Peloton, I think, has the potential to get all the way down to $37. That's the last area of kind of major support before we went on this crazy, God run, basically. And I think it has the potential to come down and hit that. Now, that's a long shot, and, it's not, the probability is not high, but there is the potential. But I'm looking for another leg down in what looks to be a downtrend. If you look at the hourly, see if we can scope anything out telling us. Yeah, I don't see anything telling me that this is going to be the reversal. So the way I'm going to play it, I took a short on Friday on this, running right into the 200. And you can see they popped it right in the 200, failed, closed back below resistance. So the way I'm going to play this is if we get an impulsive breakout candle, I'll exit the short. All right. If we get that impulsive breakout candle, I would consider that a break of this downtrend, and I'll be out of that one. But as of right now, held resistance at the top of major resistance. I think we're going to at least work our way lower. At a minimum, running down to probably here again. We'll say 98.70, and then maybe we hold there and then move higher. We don't have any. I don't have any signs of a new trend started. I have divergence, but divergence isn't a reason to go long or to get out of shorts. It merely tells you that a trend reversal is likely, but you got to see a break of the trend. You got to see a break of the trend. So maybe what we do is come down, put in higher lows. All right, it'll look something. Maybe we'll put in higher lows here, and then we break the trend. All right, so I'm gonna short it. I shorted it right there, looking for a move at least down to there, and that's about a 10-11% drop. All right, that's how I'm going to play it, and potential for a lot more. Like I said, I think there is potential to get all the way down here to 37 area. That's all I got, guys. If I didn't cover anything and you want me to cover it, leave a comment in one of my videos next week. And I do scroll those comments. I do look for ideas that you guys are seeing. Always looking for setups. Leave me a thumbs up. I do appreciate that on your way out. And if you're new, check out the course. Link in the descriptions below, pretty much of all my videos. It will help you guys. I really do guarantee that it's going to at least help you with your trading your ability to read the charts. Can't guarantee that I can control your own personal emotions on how you trade something. That's something that comes with experience. But one way I control my emotions is to continue to just go back to my charts, look at the charts. If something's going against me, does it still look good for my thesis? Yep, it does. Okay, I'm going to stay with it, and that'll help keep you, in trades that will, could continue, likely work in your favor over a swing trade. Okay, guys, you guys have a good weekend, good long weekend. Rest up. Catch you guys on Tuesday.